From CBS News Bay Area, this is the Evening Edition.
Good evening, and thanks for joining us. I'm Brian Hackney.
And I'm Andrea Nakano. A recall effort is going on in the East Bay tonight.
First, it was San Francisco District Attorney Chesa Boudin, and then Alameda County DA Pamela Price. Now, a group in Contra Costa is working to recall their district attorney.
Organizers accuse two-term district attorney Diana Becton of being soft on crime. Dawn is live in Oakley tonight, where that group is having a meeting with the media to kick off their signature collection. Dawn?
Yeah, a press conference is about to start here any minute now. These folks here, they need to collect about 73,000 valid signatures to put the recall and the ballot. A lot of these folks here are families of victims, including the family of Alexis Gabe. Now, they accuse the DA of being soft on crime, and they want her gone. Recall supporters say each signature represents a call for safety, accountability, and justice.
I agree that she should be recalled. I think to have these criminals walk, and she's not doing her job.
Voter Wade Rutnick is eager to sign the petition. He believes District Attorney Diana Becton is too lenient on crime.
As a citizen of Contra Costa County, I should feel safer than the criminals that go out there and prey upon our citizens. And for someone to let those people go without even a slap on the wrist is a slap in the face.
Recall organizers also accuse Becton of making empty promises to victims' families and failing to be transparent. The Alexis Gabe family remains frustrated that the DA's office declined to file charges against the mother of the murder suspect. They believe she knew about the crime and helped dispose of the body.
I feel for the Gabe family because they're just looking for closure. And when they can't get closure, they deserve justice.
Other supporters say they're fed up with Becton's progressive policies. Voters in San Francisco and Alameda County have recalled their progressive DAs in recent years.
And they're like, enough. People are saying enough is enough.
But Becton's supporters say she's not the same as Chesa Boudin or Pamela Price.
She stands up for victims. She's aggressively prosecuting violent criminals. She's asked for more money from the Board of Supervisors to fund these efforts, which we've granted.
Becton declined an interview, but County Supervisor John Joya says her leadership is partly why crime is down.
The allegations that this group is making against Diana Becton just don't match the reality. The most recent Department of Justice data shows that violent crime in Contra Costa is at an historic low.
But Rutnick disagrees, saying Becton is part of the problem, not the solution.
When the system doesn't correct itself, it's up to citizens to, make the correction.
Yeah, today is day one of signature gathering. They have 160 days to collect, again, valid 73,000 signatures in order for the recall to go on the ballot. Brian, they're going to be setting up, the volunteers will be setting up in front of grocery stores and supermarkets to collect those signatures. I'll send it back to you.
You know, you've done this long enough, and I am myself curious as to, if my record were under fire, I would think that I would want to defend it. So I'm curious as to why she's not talking to you. Do you have any idea? Got a guess?
Yep. We reached out to her multiple times. Her camp is saying that she is not ready to comment at this point, but she will soon enough. But we don't know why. We're waiting to hear from her. But her supporters are certainly very firm about that she is not the kind of DA that these organizers are accusing her of being.
Well, you gave it a shot. Dawn in Oakley. Dawn, thank you. Well, switching subjects, it was cold and a little rainy in parts of the Bay Area. I don't know if actually any rain fell. I had some last night. But what about today?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's fascinating the way it worked out today, too, Brian, because part of Marin, specifically Santa Rosa, Nevada, got a downpour, like between about 1 o'clock and, say, 3 o'clock this afternoon. There's a beautiful time lapse from Mount Diablo, so you can see the nature of the rain today. It was on again, off again, hit and miss showers. If we look at the virtual map, let's just watch the last hour. There hasn't been a whole lot happening here, but there's light rain in the North Bay. But what I really want you to see is not the last hour of rain. Let's switch that out. And we're going to watch very quickly the last 6 hours. And keep your eye down here in southern Marin, right around San Rafael, as we get to about, say, 1 in the afternoon to about 3. Look at that bullseye right there. Very localized. Very isolated little cell of rain. When we talk about these systems as having the possibility to deliver isolated thunderstorms, That wasn't a thunderstorm, but it was a brief area of heavier convective rain, and you certainly noticed that. Look what happens when we clear off what we're looking at on here in terms of what the rainfall looked like to how much we measured. This is just going back for about the last 4 hours or so. We got almost 3/10 of an inch of rain in San Rafael. Nevada wasn't far behind that. Got about 1/10 of an inch of rain in Santa Rosa. Look at the rest of the bay. Maybe a couple hundredths at most. We're not done. We still have a chance for a little more rain to go with this through the remainder of tonight and into tomorrow. So when we get back together again in the complete forecast, I'll walk you through what to expect over the course of tonight. For now, Andrea, back to you.
All right, Darren, I did see those raindrops in Novato today. Well, let's turn over to sports with the Warriors back at home tonight for a pivotal Game 3 against the Rockets. Matt Lively is inside Chase Center ahead of tonight's game. Matt, just about 30 minutes ago, Butler was officially ruled out of tonight's game. What does that mean? Did you see him at warm-ups? Did he try to give it a go? Can you give us some insight into this decision?
Yeah, this one came right down to the wire, Andrea. At 3:45, we spoke with Steve Kerr, and Coach told us that he was going to go through pregame treatments to see if he could work through that deep glute contusion. Ultimately, didn't make it out there, isn't going to play. Jonathan Kuminga is going to get the start instead. This is a massive loss for the Warriors. I mean, it can't be understated or overstated how much of a loss Jimmy Butler is for the Warriors. He scored 25 points in Game 1. He played just 8 minutes in Game 2. But we have seen since the trade how good Jimmy Butler has made this Warriors team.
Yeah, and this has been an extremely physical series, one they could use Jimmy Butler for. A lot of back and forth accusations have gone back between these teams, including that play by Amin Thompson on Butler, which was dirty. And opponents love to complain always about Draymond Green. So how have the Warriors responded to this, and what is their mindset as they go into this game?
Yeah, I like that subtle little dirty. Dylan Brooks, it coming from him is interesting, to say the least. But Steve Kerr has come out and said that his team has to be more physical, and that's true. Through games 1 and 2, the Rockets have 30 more rebounds than the Warriors. They have won the physicality in this series thus far. And Steph Curry has been guarded at an extremely high level, an extremely questionable level. And so you wonder if the officials will be a little bit more stringent and strict on the Rockets right now. And that's where losing Jimmy Butler hurts, because he's a guy that gets himself to the line all the time. But at the end of the day, you have to be more physical if you are the Golden State Warriors. They are not just going to roll over to the Houston Rockets. But definitely, it would be nice to have Jimmy Butler in there for that exact reason.
All right. Well, Matt Lively, thank you so much. We'll see you a little bit later in sports.
All righty, folks. Meantime, in the South Bay, more than 400 volunteers are in San Jose working to keep seniors in their homes. John Ramos tells us how.
Owning a home may be the American dream, but maintaining it can be a bit of a nightmare. So all across America, some lucky homeowners were getting help from complete strangers to stay in the place that they love.
You know, it's a Saturday. Everybody could be doing something else, you know, on their day off of work, but they're here. They're here putting their time into her home.
Claudia Chavarria is in her 80s now and has lived in the house on Clayton Road in San Jose for 55 years. For a long time, her husband Jimmy worried about the roof and signed the couple up for a program called Rebuilding Together Silicon Valley, which helps repair the homes of low-income seniors.
And we've been here since, and we never roofed the house. So this roof had 20 holes on it.
And he knew we had applied for the program. So he's been waiting patiently, and he would say, are they gonna come to replace my roof? Are they gonna come to replace my roof? And we said, you just gotta be patient, you know. And so he passed away November 22nd. And right after that is when we got the phone call that they were gonna come replace the roof. She was so excited, and I said, well, he's seen everything happen now.
Now the house has a brand new roof, along with most of the plumbing fixtures inside. And on this day, a group of volunteers from the tech company Applied Materials were swarming the house, repairing window screens, planting new landscaping, and most importantly of all, giving the entire exterior a fresh new coat of paint.
My job as house captain is to get those volunteers together, and it's always hard beforehand. Everyone says, oh, they'd love to help, but then it's, you know, everyone's got their lives. But once you get through all that and you get a solid 20 to 30 people that to show up here physically, everyone leaves here with a good feeling that they did something good for their neighborhood.
16 homes in the South Bay were getting makeovers, each one adopted by a different service group or company that provides both the funding and volunteer workforce to get the job done. The program's executive director says the homeowners selected are at an age and income level that would prevent them from being able to care for their home's upkeep.
We really work to help people stay in their homes. We want to keep their homes safe and healthy and allow people to age in their homes safely and thrive so that they're not displaced because they can't keep it maintained.
Fantastic. I mean, she's not going to have to worry about maintenance on our place for quite a while, and it's just going to take a load off of her mind as far as worrying about her house. So.
But worrying about the house was Jimmy's job, and now Claudia knows he can rest easy thanks to the kindness of strangers.
See all these people here when I came out. I cried a little bit. I was crying because I was so happy, so happy.
There's a saying, the most important thing you can give someone besides your love is your labor. On this day, Claudia got both.
Well, still to come, Amazon holds a big sale online on Independent Bookstore Day. Reaction from local bookstores here in the Bay Area. That's coming up next.
I hope you've been enjoying this brief little dance with April Rain. We got a little more to go through. By tomorrow at this time, it's going to be at it. But there's still a little going on. That's a time lapse from the last few hours. That's our camera that sits on top of Mount Diablo. So we're sitting out over there in the inland East Bay, watching the on-again, off-again scattered showers continue to move through. North Bay's got a good little show today. Got almost 3/10 of an inch of rain in San Rafael as we were looking at it. And by the way, here's the replay, just to show you what this system's been able to do today. And then I'm going to show you the future cast. But watch that little bullseye. See it? It's very subtle on there, but it moves right across San Rafael, then holds together, and then kind of diminishes by the time it moves towards the East Bay. But now we're getting into the last hour on here with a few light showers that are still hanging out. So let's get to what matters most, taking a look at what happens next. So what we're going to look at first is now through midnight. Few more isolated showers are going to crop up, primarily North Bay, and not a whole lot happens really between now and midnight. You can get a few light showers, but there's really way more of nothing on here than there is something. But as we play this forward and bring it ahead to about midnight tonight, take a look at the North Bay. This is going to turn into more noticeable rain as we advance this. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to clear it off and we're going to start it again at midnight. And we're going to play that forward into the early morning hours of tomorrow. So this is your Sunday morning. And you're going to see that there's a bit more noticeable rain on here. Let's take that forward, in fact, and take it from midnight and let that play forward until we get to about Sunday morning. So here come the showers, pre-dawn hours, 1 a.m., 2 a.m. It's not a lot, but it's widespread, light, scattered showers. We just went all the way ahead to about 5 a.m. And then it kind of quiets down, and for the most part, comes to an end. We let this play. There's still a few more showers inland as we go into like the 9, 10 o'clock hour tomorrow morning. But most of that's going to be confined in the Central Valley. So in review, there's a little more rain, most notably between about midnight tonight and like 5 a.m. And I don't even think we'd get enough that you could really measure this stuff in any meaningful way. If you want to see what's driving this, we'll leave behind that real pretty time lapse. That's the water vapor of us the last several hours. Look where we find ourselves, right in the middle of this counterclockwise spin. We see the energy on there, and it clears out tomorrow, but I think it might be more helpful to actually visualize that with where the rain is. Watch what happens. We've still got our system with us overnight. Let's play that through. Here's your Sunday morning wraparound showers. Now we can kind of see why we still have to get through Sunday morning. But by Sunday afternoon, that low is now moving away, and it's taking any chance for rain with it. We're done. Story after that is the warm-up. Temperatures are really going to jump by next week. You might not notice it a whole lot over the course of like the next 2 or 3 days. So here's that 7-day forecast. Chance of showers in the morning, and then Monday like it never happened. And you do jump into the mid-70s there, but then look at the low 80s coming back inland by the time we get to the middle of next week.
Mayor Lurie announcing a $500,000 contribution to the city's Vacant to Vibrant program this week.
One of those new businesses is an immensely popular food truck, which is now opening its first ever brick and mortar store. And Max Darrow has the story.
And
looking up at the Dewey Monument in Union Square,
it reminds me a lot.
Miguel Escobedo sees a connection between his soon-to-open restaurant's new neighborhood and the place the food he's proud to serve comes from.
And Mexico's Ángel de la Independencia stands proud in Mexico City, so I love that. Visually, I love that.
Just another sign he's made the right decision. Miguel is in the midst of opening a brick-and-mortar location of Al Pastor Papi.
This is cool.
With his famous Trompo al Pastor at 232 O'Farrell.
The Trompo al Pastor is going to go over there. So when you're ordering, you come in, you're going to see that slice of Mexico City right in front of you.
This spot has stood vacant for years. It was a Chipotle pre-pandemic.
And it's just been needing a new parent since then. So the Papi's coming.
And that is thanks to SF New Deal's Vacant to Vibrant pop-up program. It's a public-private partnership to fill vacant storefronts with small businesses. Participating property owners offer the pop-ups a couple of months of free rent. Grants give the pop-ups a stipend, and SF New Deal helps with the back-of-the-house support.
I mean, Union Square is kind of the heart of San Francisco, so for me to even have this opportunity, it's kind of surreal.
Since Vacant to Vibrant's inception nearly 2 years ago, they've brought 18 small business pop-ups to downtown San Francisco. And they've seen some success because more than half of those pop-ups determined that they wanted to sign long-term leases to stay in San Francisco.
There is a lot of vacant space, and we are aiming to bring vibrancy.
Simon Bertrang, SF New Deal's executive director, says the conversations with property owners have really changed since they launched the concept.
So they are really eager to participate in the program because they see both that they create some temporary activation that creates this vibrancy for their properties, but also there's a chance that they could find a long-term tenant that they might not have been able to access before.
He says over the course of the next year, they will create the space for 25 more pop-ups. And Bertrang's eyes are really set on a downtown corridor just around the corner from Al Pastor Papi.
Powell Street in particular, has a very high vacancy rate, but it still has a lot of foot traffic. The city and SF New Deal are hoping that we're going to be able to sign some leases on all 3 blocks of Powell Street.
All of my food endeavors have always been like a love letter to San Francisco. So I think she's writing back, like, come back, come to me, help me out.
Miguel is signed on for an 18-month lease.
Yeah, so it's a good chunk to see what we can do.
A chance to get in on the ground floor of a neighborhood looking to grow into a new version of itself at the heart of San Francisco.
And finally tonight, today is Independent Bookstore Day. It's the 12th year of Independent Bookstore Day. Over 1,600 of the stores participating across the country, including 30 right here in the Bay Area. Also the day Amazon decided to hold a big book sale online. And we'll hear from the readers that we spoke to that expressed frustration at the timing of the two things happening at once. That's at 6. Coming up next, CBS Weekend News. We'll see you in 30 minutes.
Good night, everyone.